Hello folks, Matthew Peterson here, and what I want to bring to you in this YouTube video is how to use roll-up columns with your Dataverse data inside of your Power applications. So the goal of this is to say, hey, I have some related records and I want to take some values from that table and roll up those values to see maybe a sum, a min, an average, or a max of those values. So that's what we're going to discuss here and see how easily you can implement this in your own applications. All right, so here's what I've got. A very simple app where I've got some different clubs that we have at our school. I like to use educational ideas. And then we're getting donations for those clubs. And you can see here I've made a few donations in regards to those different clubs and who the donor was. So what we see is I have a lookup column of the club to the clubs table, and I have a lookup column of the donor to the contacts table, which I just renamed to donors. What I would love to see is that I have two cooking club donations here of these different amounts, the 123, the 2345. And when I go to the clubs view, I would just love to see what's been the total donations that we see for that individual club. So that's what we're going to show, how to make a roll-up column so we don't have to go and filter the data down, manually add these off to the side with the calculator. Let's have the application do it for us. So a few requirements. When you're doing a roll-up column, you need to put the roll-up column on your parent table, and then you need to have your child table have a lookup column to that parent table. They have to have a relationship. So you always put your roll-up on the parent or the one table so that it can aggregate the values from the child table. So we'll go find all the cooking club records, add those numbers, find all the National Honor Society, so on and so forth. Let's see how easy this is to do. First things first, what I'm going to do is go over into my solution here, and I'm going to go to my tables. And the table that I want to do is I want to find an aggregate for all the individual clubs. So I'm going to go to my club table here, and I'm going to head on over into columns, and I'm just going to add a new column. So I'm going to click on new column, and then I'm just going to call this sum of club donations. And then for the data type here, because my data type for the donation column is a decimal, I need to choose the same data type for using my roll-up column. So I'm going to choose decimal here. And then for the behavior, what I choose is I want a roll-up column. So I'm going to click on roll-up, and then I have to save the column first. Then it goes to edit, and then this is where I can go over and make the roll-up column that I want to define. And so I'm going to come on over here. It says the source is club. We can use hierarchies, a little bit more advanced. We're going to skip that for now. We then go into adding a related entity. So we're saying, where are the children records? So again, my club donations has a lookup to the club table itself. So my related entity here is the donations table because it looks up to the club table. And then I come on over and I check that off. Now, if I want to put a filter, I could put filters in. So maybe I want a specific filter on the child records, whether that be based on a date, a specific column value. We're not going to be putting filters in here. I might do that for another video down the road. I want to see every single donation that has come in. So now that I have that set, I now go into my add aggregation. So when I click on add aggregation and I scroll down, it says, well, what column do you want to do this over? Again, because I chose a decimal data type, it's only going to bring me back columns with that same data type. But these roll-up columns can be done on different data types. But in this case, we're going to go with donation amount. And then I get to choose. Do I want the sum of the numbers? Do I want the max? Do I want the min? Do I just want to count how many donations have been made? Or do I want the average donation amount? In this case, I'm going to go with sum. Now you're going to be seeing this little yellow caution down here. And what that's letting you know is when you save your roll-up column, it will do the operation typically about 12 hours after you save it. Then after that, it's done on an hourly basis where it only goes and finds any records that have been added or modified or deleted, and it does the recalculation. The reason it does this is you might have, 1,000 columns, 10,000 columns. Well, to do this operation, it takes up a little bit of resources, so they wait to do it over all the records 12 hours after you save, and then moving forward, it's going to do it on a certain recurring job. And if you ever want to change those jobs, you can go into your advanced settings of your Power Platform, and you can modify how often do you want that job to calculate. But let's just focus on the job itself. So we now have it set here, and I'm going to put on my check here. So the sum of the donation amount, and then I click on Save and Close. Now in this case, what it's going to make is a read-only column. It's a calculated roll-up column here. So if I want my users to see this, I would go to my club table, and I'm just going to come on down here into the view itself. So I'll click on Views, and then I'll go into my active view, because right now I didn't have it here earlier, but I'm going to add in that I do want to see that roll-up column. So I'm going to come on over here and put in my sum of club donations. I'll just move it over here to make it look a little bit better, and then I save and I publish it. Now you can also put this inside of your forms as well. I'll kind of give you the reason why you might want to put it in the form. So I'm going to hit my back arrow here, and I'm going to go to the forms for the club. I'm going to go into that main form here, and I'm going to add this in as well. So my sum of my club donations. I'll put it here. Maybe I'll move my owner up here. I like to have it in the upper right hand corner. Looks a little bit better. And then I will save and I will publish. So now what's going to occur is when I go back to my model-driven application that I've made my changes here, I'm going to refresh my application, and we will now see cooking. We'll see all of our clubs. We'll see the sum of club donation, and we won't see the results of this again until about 12 hours later. But the way it would work is if I go back on over here to donations and I add in a new one. So let's say I do it for, the National Junior Honor Society. I pick a donor, I put in a donation amount, I save and close. What will happen in 12 hours from now, when I go back to clubs, I will see the sum of those donations for each club. Now, why did I put it into the form? Well, what's nice is if you put it into the form, it's on a manual or scheduled refresh of about every hour. But if you're in a record, you will be able to, once the first roll-up execution occurs, you'll be able to go into that form record. You'll be able to click on the calculator, and you'll be able to say recalculate. And oh, it was quick this time. $146.45 for the cooking club. Now let's see if that is correct. So let's come on over here into our donations. All right, so we go to Cooking Club 123, and then another Cooking Club 2345. That is $146.45. So it did the roll up for me. And if I come back on over here to clubs, it now manually recalculated. So oftentimes you will have to wait that 12 hours before it'll do a recalculation. Sometimes you can go in and manually force it yourself. So with these, it makes it a lot easier. I did this for my former school for donations that we were getting from parents, and that way we knew, what parent. So we're doing it right now on the club table. There's nothing that's stopping me from going to my contacts table, which I renamed donors, and I could add in the calculation there to say, what's the sum of donations from the individual contacts as well. So hopefully, if you've never seen roll-up columns, they are pretty powerful here. Again, sum, min, max, average, or a count. And hopefully it is something that you can start using in your model-driven applications to find these aggregates and not do it all manually on your own. So hopefully you enjoyed, you learned something new. If that's the case, don't forget to like and subscribe, and take a look at our other on-demand learning videos where we go much deeper into all of these types of things. Again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.